This is going to be when you're in bed. The first thing you do when you wake up is roll onto your stomach. Going into this position of the low cobra helps encourage our discs, which may have moved into a posterior position in our spinal column, to move more anterior and be in their proper place for the day, so that before we get up and load bear on our spine, we have some better stability lined up. With the pelvic tilts, the it's just we're just increasing fluid flow to the sacroiliac joint and lower lumbar region, and encouraging activity, muscle action to happen before we stand up again. And again, this is the last thing when we're in bed. We're doing our pelvic bridges. We're engaging our glutes, our adductors, our back extensors, and just slowly warming up into a range of motion that will help support full extension of standing before we get to that position. In the cat-cow, we're thinking about moving our thoracic spine mostly, so dropping that upper back in between the shoulder blades as much as possible and pushing it up as high as possible. Thoracic mobility is something that we lose quickly as we age. So you can do this exercise either just with the elbow, or you can, if you want a little bit more of a challenge, you can extend the whole arm and rotate that way. You can also rotate underneath you for a full range inward and internal and external rotation motion. You're going to do this on both sides. This is fascinating to do right now in the sequence, or after you start doing more hip mobility, and see how it changes in response to the increased hip mobility. This one is very important for those of us who are aging, which is everyone. We're getting into the hip mobility. I love this exercise. Again, I'm going to do all these before I really walk around. So this is right out of bed. I've gotten out of bed after the hip bridges, and you can do these in bed too, but certainly the lunge stretch, this next one is going to be easier on the ground. With this one, you really want to think about tucking your tail under, like a dog tucking its tail under. And sometimes you can rotate your knee out and let your foot evert or flip to the side a little more. You can see it in this position a little bit better. And this just gets different angles of your hips stretching. And you're going to want to do both sides. You can do it on your hands. You can bring your knee down if you want, or you can go all the way up into a more upright position. If you go into the upright position, you're going to lift the arm that's opposite your front leg, and you can tilt over toward that front leg as well to just give yourself a deeper stretch to the front hip muscles. This double pigeon is not something that everyone can do. You can do some sort of variation of it, maybe a single pigeon. I think it's ankle over knee, knee over ankle. You're trying to set up a square. And as you sit here for longer, you will get a little more range over time. And if you do this every day, you'll get even more range. I haven't been doing it lately. But adding a twist in here is exceptionally great, trying to keep your spine really long in this position. And obviously doing both sides, setting up that, again, knee over ankle, ankle over knee, sitting up straight and rotating. Again, getting more mid-thoracic rotation here. And it's great because you have the little prop of your knee to help you go a little further. In this one, you're going to kind of keep the same position. This is for my left leg here. So I'm leaning back and I'm feeling the right leg is holding my left leg down. And then by leaning back, I'm getting a stretch in external rotation of the hip flexors. It's probably more like a sartorius that I'm stretching here. This is a great one. Okay. The forward bend, I like to pair with a little squat movement. This one is a little bit more of a moving pose. And this is, all these stretches are great to do in the morning if you can. We often get more length out of our muscles when we've gotten in a habit of doing it when we're not warmed up, as it turns out. And yeah, just letting our knees and ankles and hips sink into that squat. So here's a plank that you can hold for as long as you can. Each day you do it, you'll get stronger and better. Great to activate the core and the glutes and the back, keeping it as straight as possible. In this downward dog that a lot of you have done in yoga classes, I like to rotate my hips to the side to get a lat stretch here. So I'm getting a calf stretch, a lat stretch, and really thinking about dropping the head and keeping the spine as angled up on a straight line as possible. And going into our up dog twist, this one, you want to have a long neck and just kind of look over your shoulder at your feet behind you. This helps your intrinsic rotator muscles of your spine activate neurologically so that they can remember the jobs that they're supposed to do. And then finally, we can take just a little rest and give a final stretch to our knees and quads and back and shoulders and neck before we get ready to hit the day. You got this.